Monsters under the bed, shadows in the closet. As a kid, you laugh at them until one of them knocks and calls you by name. I was 11 when something knocked on my bedroom door and tried to sound like my mother. My name is Kunal, and this happened years ago when my dad got transferred for a short posting. He worked for the government, and transfers came like monsoons. You knew they were coming, just not exactly when. This time it happened quickly. Our permanent quarters weren't ready yet, so we were temporarily placed in an old, worn-down government house on the edge of the city. Even then, I knew it was different. Not haunted, not cursed, just tired. Like a house that had been left alone too long and had started to sink into itself. It was a single-story structure, sagging in places like it had been quietly exhaling for decades. The walls were yellowed, the paint flaking off like dead skin. Water stains spread across the ceilings in weird, vein-like patterns, and everything smelled faintly of wet plaster and mothballs. The furniture was leftover, wooden, heavy, and scratched by families we never knew. The air inside always felt thick, like the house was trying to breathe through damp lungs. The doors moaned, not creaked, moaned, long, aching groans every time one opened or closed. The bedroom I was given had a warped wooden door that never shut properly unless you slammed it, so I locked it. Every night, every time I played video games. My mom hated that, said it was unsafe, but I told her it made me feel more focused. In truth, it just made me feel less watched. We lived there for just under 2 weeks, and for most of it nothing happened. Nothing concrete anyway. Just the kind of stuff you shrug off. Light bulbs flickering, a faint tapping noise from inside the walls, cold spots in the hallway that never seemed to go away. My mother, a little superstitious, didn't like the place. Old houses remember things, she said once, eyes narrowed at a corner of the living room where a patch of damp spread like a bruise. They keep echoes. My father, ever practical, rolled his eyes. They also keep rats, molds, and bad wiring. Still, she smudged the doorways with turmeric and salt. And still, I locked my door every night. The last night started normal. My parents went up to the rooftop terrace after dinner to enjoy the breeze, their voices drifting down through the ceiling vent in soft laughter. I stayed downstairs, sunk into my game, bathed in the soft blue glow of the screen. I remember I was playing some platformer, something with fast levels and coins. I remember the clack of the controller, the way the lights flickered now and then, and how it didn't bother me. I was in the zone. My door was locked. My world was small and safe. And then, 3 knocks, slow, measured, like punctuation. Knock, knock, knock. I paused the game, frowning. And then I heard it. Kunal. A woman's voice. It sounded like my mother's. Almost exactly like her. Almost. There was something off about it, like the tone was too flat, too rehearsed. The pitch was hers, but the warmth wasn't. It was like someone had heard her voice and was trying to mimic it without understanding how a human voice is supposed to bend, soften, rise. "Wait, Ma! Coming!" I called out, trying to brush off the oddness. My thumb hovered over the pause menu, and I took a few seconds to finish the level before finally pressing pause. I stood up, stretching slightly, not in any rush. Then, just before I took a step toward the door, I heard it. Laughter, drifting through the ceiling vent again. My father's voice, then my mother's. Clear, light, still up on the terrace. I froze in place. If they were both up there. Who just knocked? Who called my name? My hands went cold. The room felt suddenly wrong, like the air had shifted and I hadn't noticed until now. I could hear my own breath. I realized how quiet the house had become. The buzzing fridge in the kitchen had stopped. Even the cicadas outside were silent. And then, knock. But this time it wasn't a knock. It was a thud. Heavy, dull, the kind of sound that made the door shudder in its frame. Then the voice again. Kunal, open up, honey. My skin went cold. The voice was deeper now, heavier, almost distorted, like something dragging its way through the words. It still tried to sound like my mother, but now it felt like a mask slipping. I stumbled backward instinctively. My legs felt weak, like they didn't belong to me. For a second, I had this wild, desperate urge to just run, to fling the door open and bolt upstairs to my parents. But how could I? That thing, whatever it was right outside, between me and the only way out. I whispered, "Ma, is that you?" No answer, but I heard breathing. Heavy, just on the other side of the door. Slow, deliberate inhales and exhales, like something old and tired was waiting. The silence around that breathing made it worse. It wasn't just quiet, it was wrong. The kind of silence that presses into your ears and fills your lungs, like the house itself was holding its breath. My mind was spinning. What if it just busted through the door? What if it knew I was scared? My hand fumbled for my phone on the nightstand. I tapped the screen to wake it up. No signal, not even one bar. The Wi-Fi icon spun uselessly, blinking out. That had happened before in this house. Signal drops, random dead spots. But tonight, it didn't feel random. It felt deliberate, like something didn't want me calling out. Like it was controlling the silence too. I panicked. My thoughts scattered. Should I yell? Call for help? Hide? Was there even time for any of that? Breathe, Kunal. Just breathe. That's what I told myself. I forced myself to think, what would someone in a movie do? What would a smart person do? I needed to make noise, something loud, something my parents could hear. My first thought was to scream, but my throat was dry. When I opened my mouth, only a cracked whisper came out. My voice was trembling, and it felt like fear had wrapped itself around my vocal cords. Then my eyes landed on the brass elephant on the dresser. It had belonged to someone else, left behind. Heavy, solid. That might do it. That might be loud enough. I picked it up. My hands were shaking. I didn't think. I just threw it with full force towards the mirror next to the dressing table. The mirror exploded. Shards flew in every direction. The silence shattered with it. Upstairs, my parents stopped laughing. Footsteps, rushing, voices, calling my name. Then, a knock again, but this time frantic, real. "Kunal, open up." My father's voice. I ran, unlocked the bolt, flung the door open. My mother rushed in, arms around me. My father stared at the mirror, then the door. What happened? I told them everything. Every word, every knock, every silence, and the voice. My mother turned pale. She looked at my father and whispered, "I told you this place didn't feel right." My dad tried to explain it away. Stress, echoes, kids imagine things. But he didn't say it with conviction. That night we all slept in the same room, the old musty guest bedroom. I curled up between them, my face buried in my mother's arm. My father stayed up, holding a newspaper he never read. The house creaked. It sighed. The wind brushed against the windows like fingers. At one point, I thought I heard breathing behind the wall, but I didn't move. By morning, the house looked different, not haunted, not evil, just empty. Like whatever had stood behind that door had stepped back into the shadows. We packed quickly. As we left, I turned once to look at my bedroom door. The lock still latched smoothly. It might not be a good habit to lock your door, but that night, I was glad I did. As we drove away from that house, the morning sun cutting through the dusty windshield, I finally asked, "Ma, Papa, how come you never heard the knocks?" My mother exchanged a quick glance with my father before answering. "We did hear something," she said softly. "A faint sound, like someone tapping or calling. But we thought it was your video game, those little sound effects you always play so loud." She paused, staring out the window. It wasn't until we heard the mirror shatter that we realized something was wrong. That's when we ran. It felt like the whole house woke up. I didn't say anything after that. None of us did. The car stayed quiet the rest of the way. Years later, I still hear that knock sometimes, in dreams, in silence. And sometimes, I hear the voice too, soft, slow, trying to sound like her. Just like that night, just like before. And every time my mother calls me from another room, I wait a second longer than I should, just to be sure.